Hey, Kathy. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you. I sent you the email about possibly moving me from $8 an hour to $10 an hour. Darren. I did get your email and your resume, and although you're doing a great job, and your manager loves you, and people have nothing but good things to say about you, we just don't have it in the budget. Kathy, I was hired to do that entry, and now I'm reading medical reports on how the endoscopy scopes failed during procedure and determining whether it's user error or manufacturing error. It's not data entry. Darren, I'm gonna be really honest with you right now. See your resume? Well, all you've ever been is a server, and you don't have a college degree. You should be happy making what you make. Kathy, I did go to college, but I just didn't. I'm sorry. It's harsh, but it's reality. Kathy, I'm going to be really honest with you right now. I quit. And I quit. I had recently moved from Michigan to the Bay Area of California, and although I was a good server because I was outgoing and friendly and had a jovial demeanor, I was ready to start a new life. And it was the beginning of the technology boom, where janitors were getting stock options and becoming millionaires. Why couldn't that be me? Well, Kathy's job as a human resources manager was to oversee the policies, practices, and systems that influence an employee's workplace behavior, attitude, and performance. But really what Kathy was a jaded, mean, over-analytical, bitter human resources manager. How did she get that way? Well, I found out because I spent the next 10 years working in human resources. Welcome to the company. My name is Connie. I see you've done all your paperwork. That's great. We're going to take that and you're going to enter that into the Human Resources Information Systems database. But first thing what we're going to do is run up. We're going to give you a tour. All right, come through these doors, okay? Over here, you'll see it's the sales department, the jocks of high school going out there and getting us all of our wins. And over here, we have the cheerleaders or the marketing department making all the slogans and the banners. And then you'll see over here, right down this hallway, we have accounting, where you have all the math geeks and the Asian foreign exchange students. Down there we have IT, which are your computer nerds. So Connie, does that mean that human resources are the hall monitors? I like you. My first job as an HR assistant, and I was working for a mortgage lending company. I reported directly to the Assistant Vice President of Human Resources, Pratt. Yes, that was her name, Pratt. Now, Pratt saw something in me. It might have been my friendly, outgoing demeanor, my jovial personality, but she took me under her wing, became my mentor, sent me to several human resources class, seminars, and workshops, and within a year, I was making almost 3 times what I had been making at the endoscopy scope company. Not bad. Along with human resources, as a generalist, what your job is to oversee everything from the start of an employee's career to termination. And one of the areas that I really excelled at was human resources, employee relations, and analysis. Now, with employee relations, at times what you learn is that sometimes the employee will say something and mean something else. So you try to discern what the meaning is underneath the meaning. For instance, I had been counseling an employee about how his performance had fallen, and his response was, well, you know what? I think I just need to take a 30-day personal leave. Which, what he was really saying was, Oh, well, you know what? I really hate this job, but instead of quitting or getting terminated, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and I'm going to look for another job, but I'm going to leave the door open in case I can't find anything. Along with this new job, I was also recently single. My ex-boyfriend, Brian, had broken up with me because he didn't feel like things were really working out. Or in HR terms, he was moving on to a new company to seek better benefits and compensation. That was okay because I met Matt. Matt was this beautiful guy of Italian descent with sparkling eyes and this beautiful smile. And we really hit it off. He worked in the staffing industry, so we understood each other's jobs. And we spent the next 29 days seeing each other. And then on day 30, he called me and said that he wanted to stay at home and, maybe clean up his apartment and spend some time by himself and do his laundry. Well, normally, that would be okay, but HR brain, initiate. What is the meaning underneath the meaning? Oh my God, I think he met someone new. I don't know when he would have time, but that's the only possible explanation. So in human resources, what happens is when things are illogical, what you do is you do an investigation. So I went to the store, I bought some flowers, I went over to his apartment, I parked down the street, walked past his car, which was in the driveway, so that meant that he was home. Great. I walked up the stairs, past his window, but the blinds were shut, and I thought, oh my God, what if he has someone inside? And so I walked up to his door, took a deep breath, and knocked on the door. As the door opened up, I handed him the flowers, and I said, I know you're cleaning your apartment, but these are for when they're done. He took the flowers, his head kind of cocked to the side as if to say, what the hell are you doing here? And I turned around and saw that he had a freshly folded basket of laundry, and on the back of his counter were cleaning products, and he was wearing sweats and a t-shirt. Clearly he wasn't cheating on me. So I gave him a kiss and a hug and peered over his shoulder one more time, see any movement or shadows in the apartment. And we left and met up I left and met up with him the next day. God, the flowers look great on your coffee table. Shel Silverstein, I read Where the Sidewalk Ends when I was a little kid, but one of my favorite stories. Have you ever read The Missing Piece? No? See, what it's about is it's a round circular object that's missing a wedge-shaped piece of itself, and so when it rolls around, it sees the same things day after day, and it rolls really slow. So it sets out to find its missing piece, and it does find it. And then it starts to realize that it's rolling too fast, and it can't see the things that it used to love. So it puts the missing piece down and moves on happy, knowing it's happy where it's at. Oh my God, you're breaking up with me with a children's story? And he did. I had reached the end of the 30-day orientation period, messed up on the 30th day, and was terminated from the job. A few weeks later, I went out to the bar that Matt and I met, and I walked in and I saw him sitting at a table holding hands with someone, and as I approached, the guy that he was sitting with, his head slowly turned, and it was my ex-boyfriend, Brian. They had both moved on to a new company with better benefits and compensation. So, at this point in time, I had learned that human resources, 90% of the job was negative. About 10% was positive. The 10% that was positive were when you hired someone or when you gave them a raise. Everything else was pretty much bad. But the company created a new position, and they had offered it to me as a corporate culture specialist. I would oversee everything dealing with employee morale. And I also met someone new. His name was Mitchell. He was a gorgeous guy from Northern California with porn star good looks and he had recently graduated from college and was looking for a new job. Mitchell and I dated for 30 days, made it past the orientation period. At the 60-day mark, we moved in together, and at 90 days, he was working at the same company as me.
Oh my God.
And I was loving everything. My job and him, everything in my life was great. And one of the things I was doing as a corporate culture specialist was I was traveling around with the executive staff, coordinating the annual meetings and events. And it was so much fun. Oh my God! I've never been to Orlando! This is so cool! I mean, look, everybody's having a good time. This is all due to me. I mean, look, even the president of the company is out there on the dance floor having a good time, and he's making out with an employee. How does he? He's married. HR brain, and then she, no, HR brain, no. Later that night, I saw the president of the company coming out of a hotel room that wasn't his. His shirt was untucked, his hair was a mess, and he was actually still a little bit drunk. In business, you learn that you take care of the bad and the good will take care of itself. Well, the bad was that what he was doing could lead to a sexual harassment claim and a possible lawsuit. But my job was focusing on the good, so I chose to ignore it and moved on. And if I would have been paying attention to my HR brain, I would have also have discovered that things were changing in the company. And I was walking down the hallway one day and Connie grabbed me. Darren, I got something bad to tell you. Now, you can't tell anybody else because if you do, I could lose my job. But the company is being bought, and they just submitted the list for the layoffs, and you're on it. What? But the employees are happy. I'm doing a good job. Oh, God, I'm really sorry. Well, how many people are getting laid off? What about Mitch? Well, I overheard them say that they're firing him, and I don't know why. You know, I'm really sorry. And we're in the hall, I'm your hall monitor. As Connie had stated, Mitchell was fired that day, and I was let go the next day. And luckily, they had cashed out all of my vacation time and gave me a nice severance package. Along with my savings, I was able to support myself and Mitchell. It was the height of the technology boom at this point, and jobs were galore. And every job you could get a job with sign-on bonus and stock options and free massages and free lunches and game rooms with pinball machines and pool tables. And I landed at one of those companies as a staffing specialist for a high-tech company. And what was great was this company actually had one of those janitors that we had talked about with the rumor that actually was a millionaire now. And now I had stock options. About the 90-day mark, after working there, things weren't going great with Mitchell, and I had given him some money because his brother was in town, and they went out and partied over the weekend, and he came home that night and ended up collapsing on the floor. So we rushed him to the hospital, and the doctor informed us that he had overdosed on a mixture of drugs and alcohol. I wasn't aware, because my HR brain wasn't working, that he was doing drugs. I also decided at this moment that I wasn't going to be like Matt, and I wasn't going to just terminate him at that moment. I was going to give him a strict write-up and some counseling and stick with him. HR brain rebooting. In the staffing department, there were 4 of us, and I got really close with my friend Beth. So after I came into work the next weekend, I had explained to Beth the situation that happened with Mitchell, and then all four of us were summoned into a meeting where we found out that our boss had been terminated. And we were told by our new boss, Mari. Now, Mari was about 4'5", tall blonde hair, short stubbly fingers, and she looked like a troll. We would come into work, and Mari would be working at her desk. We would leave work 10 hours later, and Mari would be working at her desk. We'd go on break, and Mari would follow us around the building. You would be sitting at your desk doing work, and feel like someone was staring at you, and turn your head, and you would see her eyes just staring at you over the top of the cubicle. And then Mari had a meeting with me one day. So, you really want to grow with the company? Well, of course I do. Well, what I want you to do is I want you to watch your coworkers and tell me if they ever do anything wrong. Really? Yes, if you do, you'll be greatly rewarded. She was literally the troll under the bridge. HR brain, initiate. Do background check on Mari. I did a background check on Mari and found out that she had recently been terminated from a company, a very high-tech company in Silicon Valley, and she was suing them because she was a whistleblower, tattletale, and was suing them for wrongful termination. Now, I took this back to my coworkers and told them, and as we were all sitting there discussing this, we also found out that Mari had proposed the same scenario to each one of us. Again. At home, things weren't getting any better with Mitchell, so we went out one night and he was getting drunk again on my tab, and I left him at the bar and went home, and early in the morning I heard the door rattling. So, what are you doing? It's like 6 a.m. God, where are your keys? You look like hell. Your hair's a mess and your shirt's untucked and you're clearly drunk. HR brain initiating. Your hair's a mess. Orlando. Your shirt's untucked. Hotel room. After everything I've done for you, you cheating on me? And he did. We argued for the next 2 hours. His voice ended up getting a little more violent. He raised his fist to me a couple times, and I walked down the hallway to get away from him, and he picked up a big video cabinet and threw it at me, barely missing me and going through our second bedroom door. HR brain, initiate. Take care of the bad, and the good will take care of itself. I took care of the bad, and I terminated Mitchell. He moved out the next day with a very nice compensation package of $10,000 of my own money, half of my clothes, and a bunch of stuff of mine. At this point in time, I didn't have a job, and luckily Pratt called me, and she brought me onto a new job that she was at to contract with her at a fraction of what I was making, but after Mitchell had drained pretty much everything that I had, I needed to work as much as I could. And I had taken care of the bad, but it wasn't taking care of itself. The good wasn't taking care of itself. My grandmother on my father's side passed away from Alzheimer's. My car was broken into and everything was stolen out from it. And I also was having a hard time making the rent on the 2-bedroom, $1,800 a month rent on the apartment. And then I got the call that my other grandmother was diagnosed with breast cancer that had moved into her spine and into her brain. Now, my grandmother was a wonderful woman, and we were always close, and I used to see her once a week when I lived in Michigan. And when I came out of the closet, she was staunchly religious, so I didn't feel I could tell her. And my sister tattled on me, and my grandmother called me up crying, and she said that she wasn't upset that I was gay. She could care less about that. She was upset because She didn't understand why I couldn't tell her that I was gay. And now she had cancer. HR brain, initiate. Leave your personal problems at the door. I was kind of a terrible person. I threw myself into work, and I didn't really reach out to my grandmother after that. And I got to the point where I just was focused on making as much money as I could. So I got a call that I needed to call my grandmother in the hospice room. Hey Darren, it's Aunt Blanche. So Grandma, yeah, she's ready to go, but the hospice nurses say that she needs to talk to someone or hear from someone, and we brought up your name, and she actually responded. So I'm going to hold up the phone to her, and you can just let her hear your voice. Hey, Grandma, it's me. God, I don't even know what to say. Everything in my life is great. I'm really happy. I just want to let you know that I love you and that you can go now. 5 minutes after I hung up the phone with my grandmother, she passed away. I went back to Michigan, and everybody talked about how my grandmother was the peacemaker of the family. If for some reason you had an issue or a problem, you could go and you could talk to her. If people were fighting, she would help resolve the issues. And if you even needed money, she would lend it to you. I discovered that my grandmother was the human resources manager of our family. I flew back to California and started my job, or went back to my job the next day, and found out that Crab had moved on to a new job, and that they were going to be laying me off because they didn't have any more money to pay for me. So, because I've become good with this routine, I packed up my box, I put it in my car, drove home, parked my car in the carport, and went inside my apartment and heard my car alarm going off. I walked out back to see what was going on with my car, and it was filled with smoke. I opened up the door, I popped the hood of the engine. Flames started going everywhere because my engine was on fire, caught the carport on fire, started burning and burning 3 other cars along with it. I ran inside to call 911, and as I was inside, I looked out and I saw that my neighbor, whose car was also burning, was taking pictures. HR brain, initiate, analysis, possible lawsuit. Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing? What's going on? Oh God, I'm sorry, I'm just taking some pictures. Don't mind me. Oh my God, that's your car that started it all. Come here, get in the frame, I'll take some photos. No! What the hell do you think you're doing? Getting your evidence so that way you can come and sue me? God, people like you are horrible. You just take advantage of every situation. You're just like Mari, you know? God, I just can't take this anymore. You're such an ass. Oh, no. I'm sorry, I could care less about the car. I just started a photography class, and how often is something like this going to happen? I moved on to another company working with Crab because she had become pregnant and she needed someone to fill in while she was out on maternity leave. And then I got another new job where I was the human resources manager at a machine shop. Yes, a machine shop. The tech bust had happened, and gone were the sign-on bonuses and the salary, the stock options, and free massages and free everything. And it was okay because I had a job. And at that point in time, I decided to throw caution to the wind and start dating again. I was going to be an equal opportunity employer this time because my last 2 boyfriends were white. I dated everyone. There was Sonny the Indian, Barry the black man. There was Luis the Hispanic, and there was even Daskla the Asian. At least I think that's what his name was. His accent was so thick I couldn't understand him. And then I met Mitchell too. Yes, a second Mitchell. I don't know what it is with me, but I've dated 2 Brians, 2 Mitchells, 2 Michaels, and 2 Christophers. And I even met someone by the name of Aaron, but Aaron and Darren sounded way too corny. Mitchell was a bit younger than me, and he had recently just come out of the closet for the second time. Because his parents had thrown him into a conversion therapy program and forced him to get engaged to a woman. And his father had just passed away, so he came back out of the closet. He took over the family business, which was an HR consulting company. And he was also pursuing his bachelor's degree. Now, the everyday deal with HR was really starting to become a grind. And I was really getting tired of listening to people complaining. You know what? I brought in my lunch and it was clearly marked with my name on it, and someone stole it. So what you need to do is you need to put out a memo and you need to tell people to eat their own lunch and not someone else's. I know, he yelled at me. I mean, he shouldn't have yelled at me, but I know I made a mistake. Okay, so it was a $10,000 accounting error, but he shouldn't yell at me.
Yeah.
You think I'm gonna sign this write-up? I'm the best machinist they got here. So what if I didn't show up for 3 days of work? They should be happy I'm here. After 9 years of up and down dating, things with listening to the wants and needs of a boyfriend really kind of get under your skin. Why don't you come over and hang out with me at my place while I'm studying? You don't hold me while we sleep anymore. I know you wanted to be alone, but I brought you these flowers. Seemed like everything in my life was kind of going crappy, and Crab had moved on to a new job. She was a good HR person, and she had moved on to a new job and was having her second child. My friend Beth had called me to tell me that she was going to move to Australia, and Connie actually had moved out of the area and was also having her second child. And then I got a message from Connie's husband that on Memorial Day, she had gone swimming in the morning and had a seizure in the pool and had drowned. HR brain, reducing emotional capacity to 25%, removing kindness and compassion. Beth and I met up to meet up before she went to Australia, and Mitchell too really wanted to go along, but at that point in time, I just wanted to hang out with her, and I told him that maybe we would get together later. And I got into my car and noticed that he had missed a bunch of calls from me, or I had missed a bunch of calls from him. And when I got home, he was there waiting for me. You said you were going to call me so we could hang out. You know what, I'm really sorry. It's just that, Beth and I were having fun, and I just wanted to be able to spend some time alone with her. Do you not want to be with me anymore? HR brain, reducing emotional capacity to 0%. Do you know the story of the missing piece? You're an asshole, you know that? You're an asshole. You're right, I'm an asshole. It's exactly what I am. An asshole. At that point in time, I released Mitchell too from his employment, and he had been the sweetest and nicest guy that I ever dated. Hey, Darren, yeah, I just wanted to talk to you about that pay increase. I know that you said you were, you know what, I'm sorry, I've just been really, really busy and I haven't had a chance to. Well, actually, you know what, I'm just going to be honest with you. I did have a chance, and unfortunately you're not certified to run the machines. You don't have the education that is needed, and you know what, I know it's harsh, but you should just really be happy with what you're making. HR brain, initiate. Removing Darren program. Bitter, jaded, over-analytical human resources manager, fully installed. Fuck.